If you thought the ice roads were terrifying on TV, wait until you hear what went on when the cameras stopped rolling. Behind the scenes of Ice Road Truckers, the real danger didn't end with the final cut. Some of the most shocking moments happened far away from the spotlight. By 2025, a few familiar faces from the show are no longer alive. Others have found themselves on the wrong side of the law, and some are still battling risks most of us will never experience in our lifetimes. These aren't just stories, they're chilling reminders of how thin the line can be between survival and disaster. From fearless drivers who pushed the limits on cracking ice, to cast members whose private battles dragged them into darkness, what unfolded after the series ended is far more unbelievable than anything that made it to screen. Stay with this story until the end, because when you reach number 3, you'll never look at those frozen miles the same way again. Number 1. Alexander Debegorsky. When people talk about true ice road legends, one name always rises to the top: Alexander Debegorsky. He's the man whose life became a symbol of courage, instinct, and pure survival on some of the coldest, deadliest roads on the planet. From the very first episode of Ice Road Truckers, Alex wasn't just a cast member, he was the face of the show. Alex is the only driver who appeared in all 11 seasons, and viewers instantly connected with him. Whether he was cracking a joke, pushing through brutal storms, or staying calm when the world around him was falling apart, he had a presence that drew people in. His philosophy was simple: respect the ice, trust yourself, and never pretend you're stronger than the road beneath you. Long before television introduced him to millions, Alex had already lived through the kind of chaos that shapes a man's instincts for life. He supposedly survived 37 bar fights in a single week, escaped 11 robbery attempts, and even walked away from a near-fatal accident in a coal mine. Most people would have quit long before that, but Alex kept going, and those experiences sharpened the instincts that later kept him alive on frozen lakes and shifting winter roads. His driving style was unlike anyone else's. Even at temperatures that could freeze your breath mid-air, Alex kept his window cracked open so he could hear the ice. Every snap, whisper, and shift told him something. That's the ice talking. If you ignore it, it might decide your fate. Through the years, Alex battled frostbite, blackened skin from the cold, and once spent 3 long days buried in a snow-covered truck with the temperature plunging to 60 below. For him, survival wasn't about brute force. It was about discipline, patience, and listening to the land. Away from the danger of the road, Alex turned into a natural storyteller. He traveled across Canada sharing stories from his wild past, posted videos breaking down old and modern trucks, and in 2022 took on a new role hosting Taillights, where he retold his craziest real-life experiences. He also became an author, giving fans an intimate look into his life with his memoir, King of the Road. And despite everything he accomplished, Alex always stayed grounded. He loved the quiet moments at home with his wife Louise and their 11 children. Yellowknife wasn't just home, it was where he recharged, surrounded by laughter, music, and the life he built far away from the danger of the ice. And even without scandals or jail time like some of the other cast members, Alex still found a way to stumble into unforgettable moments, like losing a bet that made him milk a yak on camera, or figuring out how to free himself from a snow-buried truck in the middle of a raging blizzard. His stories reminded everyone that real bravery isn't loud or reckless. It's being steady when the world turns unpredictable. Number 2. Lisa Kelly. When people hear the name Ice Road Truckers, Lisa Kelly is usually the first person who comes to mind, and it's no surprise. She became the woman who proved she could haul massive loads across Alaska's deadliest frozen roads and sometimes outperform men who were twice her size. She even skipped season 6 because, as she once put it, it's hard to heal bruised ribs when a camera crew wakes you up every sunrise. But her story reaches deeper than physical pain. Lisa pushed her way through a male-dominated industry, showing the world that talent and determination can beat any stereotype. Born on December 8, 1980, she appeared in seasons 3 through 5, returned for 7 through 11, and faced some of the toughest ice Alaska ever threw at a driver. She drove the Dalton Highway, climbed dangerous slopes, and hauled loads that required perfect focus. In the beginning, she didn't even get paid for her first seasons, yet she kept coming back. She once told producers, "I'm going to prove I'm more than eye candy," and she followed through with every mile she drove. With time, Lisa became known not just for being fearless, but for being precise, steady, and professional in moments where most people would panic. Her co-workers respected her, fans admired her, and she reshaped the image of women in trucking with every appearance she made. Her partnership with Daryl Ward added another powerful chapter to her story. They ran a trucking business together, and his sudden death hit her hard. She had to carry the weight of grief while managing a company, making deliveries, and holding on to their shared vision. Lisa could have stopped right there, but she didn't. She kept the business alive and continued driving, honoring Daryl with every load she delivered. This strength shows the emotional side of the ice roads, where personal heartbreak mixes with professional pressure, and every frozen mile brings risk along with responsibility. Number 3. Todd Dewey. When Todd Dewey joined Ice Road Truckers in Season 7, he quickly stood out as the guy who could chain up a truck faster than almost anyone in the Yukon. Viewers connected with him because he wasn't loud or showy. He was the type of driver who let his skills speak long before he ever opened his mouth, taking on icy routes that even seasoned truckers would think twice about. On camera, Todd carried himself with calm confidence, steering huge loads across deadly conditions while often working beside veterans like Art Burke. His style was simple. No need to shout, no need to brag. His driving was proof of everything he claimed to be. But the dangers of an ice road trucking life don't disappear when filming ends, and Todd eventually learned the hardest truth of all: the road doesn't care who you are. No matter how good you are, one sudden moment can decide whether you live or die. That moment came for Todd in January 2019. While carrying a load of spruce logs near Shelton, Washington, a sedan suddenly drifted over the center line and slammed straight into his truck. The impact was devastating. Both people in the car, a 65-year-old man and a 64-year-old woman, lost their lives instantly. Todd survived the crash with only bruises, but the emotional blow hit much deeper. Even though the RCMP later cleared him, blaming black ice and the other driver's speed, Todd couldn't forget what he saw that day. It's the kind of memory that stays with a person forever, no matter how many times you're told you weren't at fault. Todd shared a raw, emotional message on Facebook shortly after, urging others to take winter driving seriously, proof of how much the tragedy hurt him. Friends say that after the crash, he stepped away from long-haul trucking completely. He began sticking to local gravel work and avoided driving at night unless absolutely necessary. Even with all that, the pull of the ice never left him. Todd admitted privately that he missed the quiet stretches of frozen highway, the challenge of each run, and the pride that comes from completing a dangerous haul. This is where things take a turn. As of 2025, Todd is back. He's returning for Season 12 after 8 years away, teaming up again with Lisa Kelly and joining Muskie Creek. He says the challenge still calls out to him, even though his wife still holds her breath every time he heads toward the ice. But now there's a big question hanging over him. What is it like to return to the same world that once brought you face to face with death? And with the ice becoming less predictable every year, will Todd's old instincts still protect him, or is he walking into new dangers? Stay with me, because the next driver's story makes Todd's journey look almost normal. Number 4. Mark Kohakowicz. Mark Kohakowicz is the steady force behind Polar Industries, the well-known Winnipeg trucking company that battles some of Canada's most unforgiving northern routes. His trucks travel across icy wilderness that many people would never dare to enter, yet Mark handles the pressure with a calm focus that made him stand out on the show. On camera, he often looked like the quiet guy in the background, managing operations while the drivers faced storms, breakdowns, and close calls. But anyone paying attention could tell his role was bigger than that. Mark's story is built on patience, planning, and a deep respect for the northern communities his company serves. He first joined Ice Road Truckers in Season 5, slowly becoming more visible by Season 7. By Season 10, he even jumped behind the wheel of Daryl Ward's truck and operated heavy equipment, proving he wasn't just the boss, he understood the job from the ground up. His love for northern terrain started long before he founded Polar Industries. Back in university, he and a friend would take small ice fishing trips that turned into long drives into remote areas. Each year, they pushed farther into the wilderness. They kept seeing freight trucks rumbling across the frozen roads and realized there might be a business hidden in those icy miles. That simple curiosity eventually grew into Polar Industries. The company started small, hauling just 21 loads its first season. By the sixth year, they were moving more than 700, delivering supplies to remote communities and First Nation settlements that depend on the ice roads each winter. One of the greatest examples of Mark's leadership happened in 2017 when a washed-out railroad line cut off the town of Churchill, Manitoba. Without that railroad line, the town couldn't get basic supplies. Mark stepped in and organized the building of a temporary ice road so his team could deliver food, fuel, and essentials before Christmas, a mission he called a Christmas present to Churchill. His crews worked brutal 14 to 18-hour shifts in extreme conditions, building a lifeline across frozen terrain, and through it all, Mark coordinated every step. You can't just call for help out there. There are no helicopters, no aircraft. Every day is a calculated risk. Those words show the weight he carries, not just for his business, but for the people counting on him. Since Ice Road Truckers ended, Mark has stayed mostly out of the spotlight. No scandals, no court cases, just the non-stop challenge of moving freight across weakening ice and unpredictable northern weather. His life isn't filled with dramatic crashes or explosive moments, but that's exactly what makes him so fascinating. While the cameras focus on danger, Mark represents the other side of the job, the strategy, patience, and mental toughness needed to keep everything moving when the world around you freezes solid. Even with all his planning, nature still has the final say, and it makes you wonder, with the ice changing every year, what new challenges will someone like Mark face next? Number 5. Hugh Rowland. Hugh Rowland, better known as the Polar Bear, became one of the early faces of Ice Road Truckers. From the moment he appeared on screen, people remembered the man with a rough voice, sharp humor, and fearless attitude. In the first seasons, only Alex Debogorski had more screen time, and Hugh quickly turned into the driver everyone wanted to follow. Producers even shaped whole episodes around his bold lectures to new drivers and the clever tricks he used to survive the dangerous ice. Fans loved his tough personality, and Hugh never missed a chance to joke about having cameras in his truck. When the producers first approached him, he simply said, "Sure, put the cameras in, just don't slow me down. It won't cost me anything, and nobody's going to sit around watching us go up and down the ice anyway." But his story changed sharply in 2014. When he wasn't working, Hugh rode as a passenger in an SUV driven by producer Will Morrison. The vehicle slipped off a narrow dirt road, rolled over, and left Hugh badly hurt. His spine was severely injured, and his left heel was crushed. The recovery dragged on for 2 long years, but sadly the physical pain was only part of the damage. Hugh later took legal action against the producer, saying the crash was caused by reckless driving. The combination of his injuries and the lawsuit quietly pushed him out of the show. To make matters worse, the aftermath of the accident put strain on his marriage, with claims that the injuries affected their closeness and eventually led to the relationship falling apart. The lawsuit never made big headlines, and the network moved on without him. Hugh stopped driving the ice roads entirely, though he still appears at truck shows, signing autographs and leaning on his cane. Fans still whisper about what really ended his time on TV. Even so, he runs a construction company today and spends more time with his family, proving that even when the ice is behind you, strength can carry you into something new. Now let's move to someone whose calm leadership behind the scenes shaped the world of ice trucking in a completely different way. Number 6. Art Burke. Art Burke rolled into Ice Road Truckers during Season 7 like he was built for the frozen world, a tough Canadian whose energy made it look like he could take on a blizzard and walk away laughing. Across 38 episodes from 2013 to 2017, he proved he wasn't just acting, he really had the grit. Fans loved his humor and his wild, fearless approach. He could make you laugh even when his truck was sliding across sheets of ice. But off-camera, that same adventurous spirit led him down a dangerous path. Art liked trying new things, even risky ones, and after the show ended, that curiosity took a life-changing turn. He attempted to make a cannabis extract called Shatter using liquid butane, a substance known for exploding under the slightest spark. Art pushed forward anyway, and the result was devastating. His home exploded with such force that people blocks away felt the shock. Damage totaled more than $60,000, and he suffered severe burns across nearly 40% of his body. He spent almost 2 weeks in the hospital fighting through the pain. But the trouble didn't stop there. In 2020, Art pled guilty to arson by negligence. He faced house arrest, had to pay restitution, and eventually sold his truck just to handle the fines. Even in court, his stubborn streak showed. He arrived late to a hearing and argued about the schedule, testing the judge's patience. Today, he uploads trucking videos under a different name. But fans who once knew him as the upbeat, fearless driver can see the change. That playful smirk is gone, replaced with a quiet, serious look, one that suggests he still carries the sound of that explosion with him every day. And finally, let's turn to someone whose calm leadership behind the scenes shaped the world of ice trucking in a completely different way. Number 7. Daryl Ward. Daryl Ward was the kind of man who made you feel like you could brave the ice roads beside him, even in brutal cold that froze the air at 50 below. He joked through the radio, smiled through the danger, and acted like nothing out there could shake him. Born on August 13, 1964 in Montana, he grew up with trucking in his blood. His family ran harvest rigs, so he spent most of his life mastering the job long before he ever became a familiar face on Ice Road Truckers. By the time he joined the show in Season 6, Daryl brought a rare mix of skill, personality, and pure adrenaline that viewers immediately connected with. He didn't just haul loads, he helped people, stepped in during emergencies, and somehow managed to stay calm while ice cracked under his wheels. Fans loved everything about him. His grin, his backward cap, and the way he made life and death moments feel exciting instead of terrifying. Off the show, he was just as fearless. He fought forest fires, helped communities, and lived by a simple motto: any road, any load. But everything changed on August 28, 2016. Daryl and his co-pilot, Mark Mellett, were flying home from the Great American Truck Show when their plane suddenly dropped, swerved sharply, and crashed into the trees. Witnesses saw the final moments, but investigators never learned exactly what went wrong. The loss stunned fans everywhere, especially because Daryl was preparing to film a new documentary about plane wrecks, a dream project he never got the chance to start. If this journey into their hidden stories surprised you as much as it surprised us, make sure you hit that like button. Tell us in the comments which cast member's fate shocked you the most, and don't leave us without subscribing. Another behind-the-scenes story is already waiting for you. Trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next.